I can't tell you how many times I have heard this statement when discussing a Six Sigma deployment proposal. Our executives don't have time for executive training, or we support the effort, so do we really need the training? This is the very first clue that the company's efforts are likely going to fail. My team and I have one key metric to gauge the success of a deployment, and that is the engagement of the company's leaders. The more the leaders are engaged, supportive, and accountable, the better the chance of a sustainable deployment. When that engagement is just lip service, it's the kiss of death for any continuous improvement effort.
Welcome to Why They Fail, the podcast that pulls back the curtain on why continuous improvement efforts fail. Buckle up, because we're not here for motivational fluff. We're dissecting the short-sighted decisions and leadership agendas that sabotage CI success. But don't worry, we'll clue you in to the few simple keys to success to avoid these pitfalls. If you're ready for the truth, let's do this.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Why They Fail and the Simple Key to Success. I'm your host, Kevin Clay, a Six Sigma Master Black Belt and president of Six Sigma Development Solutions. This is the podcast where we roll up our sleeves and get brutally honest about why so many continuous improvement efforts crash and burn. We're not here to share sugar-coated success stories. We're here to dissect the failures, expose the myths, and uncover the simple truths that lead to sustainable success. Everything we discuss ties back to the core principles in my book, also titled Why They Fail and the Simple Key to Success, where we explore why over 90% of these initiatives fail within 18 months. In our last episode, we had the pleasure of speaking with Edris Patterson, a decorated Army officer and a recent graduate of our Six Sigma Black Belt program. Edris shared his incredible journey of applying Six Sigma methodologies to streamline the Army's orders publishing process, taking it from an average of 6.75 hours down to 6.25 hours, and dramatically reducing process variation. His story was a fantastic example of what's possible when the tools of continuous improvement are applied with discipline and focus. Today, however, we're diving into the darker side of CI, a place where good intentions go to die. We're talking about a phenomenon I call lip service leadership. This is what happens when executives say they support continuous improvement, but only when it's convenient and doesn't interfere with their personal agendas or the shiny new toy of the quarter. It's one of the biggest reasons why promising CI programs end up as just another failed initiative. So buckle up, because we're about to pull back the curtain on one of the most common and most destructive forms of leadership failure in the world of continuous improvement. One of the most frequent and frustrating conversations I have with potential clients starts the same way. A company leader calls me excited. They've heard about the power of Six Sigma and they want in. They're ready to train a green belt, maybe even a black belt, to go back and, in their words, save the world. I hear it almost daily. They want to send an employee to one of our courses, and when I ask about the support structure they have in place, the answer is usually the same. We're going to have them lead our CI department and take on improvement projects. What they're really saying is, we want to train a sole green belt to take on arbitrary projects that are part of the leadership's agenda in a haphazard attempt to improve continuously. 9 out of 10 students who walk into our classes are in this exact position. They've been set up for failure before they even learn what DMAIC means. This brings us to the heart of today's topic: lip service leadership. It's the enthusiastic handshake in the boardroom, followed by a complete lack of real, tangible support when it matters most. It's the leader who wants continuous improvement, but only if it doesn't get in the way of their agenda. I can tell within the first few meetings with a company's leadership team how successful their CI deployment is going to be. It all comes down to one key metric: their engagement and accountability. Are they just paying lip service, or are they truly committed? So, what does this lip service look like in practice? The most common sign is how projects are selected. In a healthy CI culture, projects are pulled from a project hopper, a system where anyone in the organization, from the CEO to the operator on the floor, can identify problems. These potential projects are then prioritized based on one thing and one thing only: their potential impact on the company's key performance indicators, or KPIs. This data-driven approach ensures that the organization is always working on the next most important thing to drive success. But in a culture of lip service leadership, the project hopper is ignored. Instead, projects are handpicked by leaders based on where they feel the most pain at that moment. Or worse, they're chosen to support a leader's pet project or the latest shiny object they've invested in, a new ERP system, new equipment, you name it. The newly trained belt becomes a tool of the leadership's agenda, reacting to pains they feel, rather than systematically solving the root cause of problems. I once consulted with a company where a CI team was tasked with reduce queues in the company's cafeteria. Why? Because the CEO had mentioned it in passing. Meanwhile, the company's on-time delivery KPIs were in the gutter, directly impacting customers and the bottom line. This is a classic case of sub-optimization. Sure, they might make the lunch line faster, but it will have zero effect on the overall system's ability to produce and deliver value to the customer. This leads to another major symptom: projects that are doomed from the start because their scope is massive. A leader will task a brand new greenbelt with something like optimize on-time delivery for the entire company, which has 2,500 different products. They see it as a clear, simple goal, but for the belt, it's like being asked to solve world hunger. They get bogged down trying to analyze thousands of inputs, the project cycle drags on, leadership loses focus, and eventually they demand a band-aid solution that doesn't fix the root cause and often makes things worse. The project dies on the vine, the belt is demoralized, and leadership concludes that Six Sigma doesn't work here. And this is where the real damage happens. I have seen so many promising projects get killed because they ran into a leader's personal agenda. The project team does the work, they analyze the data, and they identify a solution. But that solution might require a change that a particular executive doesn't like, or it might expose a flaw in a system they championed. The leader says, "I support CI." But the moment it becomes inconvenient, the project is dead. This is what I call a turf war. When leaders don't truly buy in, their personal agenda will always take precedence over a CI project. So, what is the leader's actual role in a successful CI deployment? It's not to pick the projects. It's to build the foundation. Their job is to work with their team to establish meaningful KPIs that are understood at all levels of the organization. Their job is to champion the creation of a project hopper and empower everyone to contribute. Their job is to ensure that projects are prioritized based on data and their effect on those KPIs, not on emotion or agenda. And most importantly, their job is to act as what we call bulldozers, to remove the roadblocks and break down the barriers that get in the way of their improvement teams. When leadership merely offers lip service, they are in effect asking a plumber to build a house. They've trained a specialist in one area, the green or black belt, and then tasked them with the entire construction project without a blueprint, without a foundation, and without the right support. The result is always the same: a failed effort that costs time and money and erodes any faith the organization had in the power of continuous improvement. The blame gets placed on the methodology or the belt, but the real fault lies with a leadership team that wasn't willing to do the hard work of building a true culture of improvement. Are you listening to this and nodding your head, recognizing the signs of lip service leadership in your own organization? Do you feel like you're constantly fighting an uphill battle, trying to make improvements in a culture that says one thing but does another? The truth is, you're not alone. But you don't have to stay stuck. The first step to fixing the problem is understanding it. That's why I wrote the book, Why They Fail and the Simple Key to Success. It's a no-nonsense guide that dives deep into the scenarios we're talking about today and gives you the blueprint for building a CI culture that actually lasts. And the best part, the book is absolutely free. That's right, I want to give you the tools you need to succeed. Just click the link in the show notes to download your free copy today. That same link is your gateway to discovering how my team at Six Sigma Development Solutions can help you avoid these pitfalls. Whether you're just starting your journey or trying to reboot a failed effort, we have the resources to help. We offer public green belt and black belt training at 52 locations worldwide, as well as live virtual classes, so you can get certified from anywhere. We also have robust online training programs that you can take at your own pace. Don't let your continuous improvement efforts become another casualty of lip service leadership. Take the first step, download the free book, and when you're ready to build a real foundation for success, give us a call at 866-922-6566 or email us at training@sixsigmadsi.com. So, there you have it. Lip service leadership isn't just a catchy phrase. It's a very real, very destructive force that kills continuous improvement initiatives every single day. It's the gap between what leaders say they support and what they actually do. It's prioritizing personal agendas and short-term pains over a disciplined, data-driven strategy. It's tasking talented people with impossible projects and then failing to give them the support they need to succeed. The simple key to success, as we always come back to, is building the right foundation. It starts with leadership that is genuinely engaged, accountable, and willing to let data, not their agenda, drive the improvement effort. It requires a commitment to defining clear KPIs and using them to prioritize the work that truly matters. If today's episode resonated with you, I encourage you to take action. Start a conversation within your organization. Share this podcast with a colleague or a leader who needs to hear this message. And don't forget to download your free copy of my book, Why They Fail and the Simple Key to Success. The link is in the show notes. Thank you for tuning in. I hope we've given you some valuable insights and, more importantly, the motivation to challenge the status quo in your own organization. Join us next time as we continue to dissect the failures and uncover the simple keys to success. Until then, this is Kevin Clay, reminding you that you can't solve today's problems with the same thinking that created them.